everybody. This is Stuart Robertson from DesignMeme.com. Thanks for joining me. Tonight I'm going to take a look at the new Dreamweaver CS4 for the first time. So let's open that up and take a look at it. New version, and I've seen some of the demos, lots of new features. This is going to be the first part in a tutorial series where we take a look at Dreamweaver from a beginner's perspective. So we'll start with a lot of the foundations. I'm going to pick up a license through my work. I'm going to use this on the trial basis for now, so we'll click next. You can download a 30-day trial of Adobe Dreamweaver CS4 from the Adobe website, or if you'd like, stop by designmeme.com, and I've got some links to Dreamweaver books, tutorials, and downloads as well. So the Dreamweaver interface will look fairly familiar to people that have used previous versions, but we're going to approach this from the point of view of someone who's just getting started with Dreamweaver for the first time. You're a new web designer, someone who's interested in getting into web design and building a page for the first time. So this is what you're going to see when you open up Dreamweaver. Now, like a lot of different Adobe products, there's usually 3 or 4 different ways of doing the same task. So don't feel overwhelmed by the interface. There's a lot of menus up at the top, a lot of different buttons that you could get into. You're not going to need to learn everything to be a competent web designer. Different people have different workflows that they like to use, and Dreamweaver gives you the option of creating a new HTML document from here, creating a new HTML document from the pull-down menus that are up at the top. So we can approach this from some different ways. But just to get started, I'm going to click here on the Create New HTML Document, because we're going to take a look at what a first-time web designer might see. So here is our split screen Dreamweaver window. In the top we can see the code, and if you've done any HTML before, you'll recognize this up here. When we start a blank document, it puts in our basic HTML structure. This is an XHTML transitional document, which is very good for working on cascading style sheets and all the modern web design techniques with. In the bottom panel, this is what we're actually going to see on the screen, right? So all of this HTML up here is sort of behind the scenes. It's going to be invisible inside people's web browsers, and what is down here is what's going to show up in this screen. Now we can either switch to code view, where we just work in HTML and it's much like a text editor. We can switch to split screen view, where at the top we see our code and at the bottom we'd see our visual design, or straight design view, which works a lot like your word processor, something like Microsoft Word. Now, it's good when you're getting started with web design to work in the split screen view, because when you type things in at the bottom, my sample web page, here we have it over here, my sample web page, up here we can actually see where it's being typed into the code. So when I come down here and I click enter, up in my code view, it's actually wrapping paragraph tags around my sample web page, the text that I just typed in. If I come down here and I select my text, at the bottom of the screen I have my properties inspector, where I can start setting the properties for this piece of text. So right now it's a paragraph and it has paragraph tags wrapped around that. If I wanted to change the format of this from a paragraph to, say, a first level heading, it will change it in the design view, and also above in our code view we can see that it's changed from paragraph tags to H1 tags, first level heading tags. So working in this split screen view is a good way for people to learn a little bit of HTML. You don't need to have it all memorized, but as you become more familiar with the tags and what they do, you'll be able to do more with your documents. And certainly when we get into working more with cascading style sheets, it's helpful to be aware of what HTML tags are being used on the page so that we can apply the correct cascading style sheet settings for that specific piece of text. So we can work in code view, split screen view, or regular design view. Now, once again, in design view, this is very much like a word processor, and I can type in some sample text. I can have a bunch of lines of text that I can then highlight. Oops. I can highlight these, and then down here I can select the unordered list or ordered list and convert these into a bulleted list or a numbered list. So working between the text at the top and with the properties inspector down here, I can start creating some basic formatting for my document. I can create headings, I can create paragraphs of text, I can create bulleted or numbered lists. So this is just our first brief introduction to taking a look at Adobe Dreamweaver CS4. If you continue along with the rest of the series, we're going to get into a lot more detail with the various features, and by the end of our little